AER is one of those games that is both relaxing and confusing. At first sight it seems very spiritual. There are shrines, temples, mentioning of gods and spirit animals. Then there is also the void, an abstract emptiness that has torn the world apart. The game leaves a lot of space for interpretation. What caused the void? How did it break apart the world? And is there a way to save what little remains? Since AER never mentions what the void exactly is, one is free to interpret it. What is humanity lacking? AER seems to imply a notion of spirituality. Once mankind believed in gods and spirit animals, but they grew sad and a void started growing within them. In this video I will explore this topic and try to fill in the abstract void. As with everything, this is just an interpretation among many. But let's first say something about the game. In AER, you play as Og, a young pilgrim who, thanks to a pact with the bird spirit, can shift into a bird. On your pilgrimage you are to visit 3 temples, solve a puzzle and receive a fragment from the Guardian. At the first shrine you visit you receive a lantern called Karma's Light. With this lantern you can see the memories of people gone, allowing you to form a picture of what the world was like and what caused the Great Divide. While playing AER, I thought it implied a certain critique. Not only is the game lacking a society that seemingly destroyed itself, there are also gods and spirits that seem disappointed in humanity's act. A similar critique can be found in, well, critical theory. Not entirely unexpected, this theory is critical towards society, mainly towards the ideals of progress and efficiency. There seems to be a similarity between AER and the critical theory of Horkheimer and Adorno, mainly in terms of there being a greater good and mankind's focus on its own goals. In this theory, this is explained through the terms objective and subjective or instrumental reason. To explain this, it seems a good idea to move to Own and the archives. At Own, we can see one man's greed and the war that was caused by it. In AER, the void is constantly referred to as man's greed. Combining this with what we see at the archives, a great drill that ignores spiritual values so that it can dig up resources, it seems plausible to connect this greed with an ideal of progress. Kuroku's greed to claim the land, and giving himself the title of God King, is a perfect representation of it. And it also seems that this is how the Great Divide was caused. Kuroku not only stopped believing in gods, but claimed to be even better. Humanity grew sad and blamed it on the gods. Perhaps they wanted more than what the belief in spirits could give them. At least Kuroku did. This is where the distinction between objective and instrumental reason comes in. Objective reason was an idea of reason that encapsulated the whole world. The world followed the principle of reason, and mankind was merely a part of that. Therefore, mankind had to live in harmony within a greater whole. The source of this reason was often represented as a god, or, at the least, outside of and greater than mankind. Objective reason focuses on the greater ideas. What is the end goal of humanity, and what is the greater good? Instrumental reason, on the other hand, does not worry about the greater good. Rather, it focuses on means and ends, and how to efficiently attain one's ends. Instrumental reason is only a part of objective reason, but the progress of science has caused the focus to lie on instrumental reason. And this is what we see in Kuroku. Instead of accepting his place as a mere human, he desired to have total control, and used the most efficient means to attain that end: war and a totalitarian regime. This shift from objective to subjective reasoning is what seems to have caused the Great Divide. Accompanied with an increased focus on science, often comes a fading belief in a higher power. Mankind's fading belief in spirits did not simply cause the Great Divide. It was preceded by a void growing. But this void seems to be more than simply a greed as seen in Kuroku. It has signs of jealousy as well. In AER it is presented as an active force that is trying to stop Og from saving what is left, a sort of apathy. Perhaps it is simply a lack of meaning. We stopped believing in gods and spirits, and now that there's so little left of the world, we just can't believe that a spiritual pilgrim is the savior. Yet this meaningless void is revered by the rift cult in the tear. Here it is not represented as something evil or apathetic, but as something beautiful, sublime, vastly bigger than us. A rift in the fabric of our world, behind which lies a veil of stars. There seems to be a similar attitude towards this rift into the universe as there was for the spirit animals. Then again, according to this interpretation, science, as part of instrumental reasoning, has taken the place of objective reason. Not only did it cause us to leave spirituality behind, it has become a new form of superstition, as it often sees spirituality. Perhaps the rift cult is revering science as mankind in general was revering the spirits. Yet science does not give a similar deeper meaning to life as a belief in higher order does. This is not to say that one is better than the other, but science does rely on the same arrogance as Kuroku shows. Science no longer sees nature as something greater than us, but merely a tool for us to use. We have instilled ourselves as masters over it, so we can use it for our own ends, as Horkheimer and Adorno put it in the Dialectic of Enlightenment. By ignoring nature as something we are part of, we do give up a sense of meaning, and as long as we cannot replace that, a void will remain. Nonetheless, AER seems to be more than a critique on the monopoly of scientific thought, or a reappreciation of nature. It is also a game about exploring and growing up, finding your own way. AER does not give you quest markers, it tells you of the pilgrimage and leaves the rest to you. And if you take the time to explore, you will find the memories of people long gone. These memories help you discover the story of the world so far. AER seems to be an allegory for finding your place or role in the world, perhaps even of finding meaning and mankind's failure to do so. Yet Auk seems to be finding meaning to her own life, which is big enough a project for a mere human being. All around we see the results of mankind trying to force the world into meaning. Not only is Auk in this sense an individual, she is also unfinished. Whereas every other living being has a set role, Auk's is not that clear. Sure, she is the pilgrim, but at the end of the game it is not quite sure what she has achieved. She touches hands with the void, the screen goes to white, and the credits roll in. Has she saved the world? There's no way to know, yet everyone knew how important it was. Just before, at the lighthouse, there's pressure surrounding the other characters. No one knows what is about to happen, yet they all know that it is significant. This seems to imply that, against the drill that we find at the archives, that we are not the final judges. We do not get to decide what happens. We play only a part. Thanks for watching.